GM Farcaster. It is September 25th. Also my brother's birthday, and I just realized that. So happy birthday, brother. Really got to text him real quick. One moment. Anyway, September 25th, and you're here with Nounish Prop and Adrian and a very special guest rocking a boys club camo hat, which I really needed to grab one of those. This is Deana, one of the co-founders of Boys Club and amazing co-hosts, and we are so excited to have you here. So welcome to
Thank you. Honored to be here amongst all of my friends, honestly, on Farcaster. So I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me.
You were the #1 most requested guest. for real.
Oh, that's so nice and surprising to hear, honestly.
Not surprising at all. Shout out to Sparks. I see her in the chat. GM Sparks, also aka JC, who made this happen.
Early for her.
Yeah.
Very early.
It's 5:30 in the morning.
We love you.
In island time.
Yeah, we love you so much. Yeah. We love you. So we're so excited to have you here. We're going to go through some of our usual shenanigans, Farcaster related news. Deana's going to jump in, and then we're going to shift gears and talk about Boys Club and all things Boys Club. I'm really excited. So let's jump into it. First off, we've got to address the Brian-shaped elephant in the room. Okay, so Unlonely is moving to Solana. So if you are here with us now, we used to also stream this on Unlonely. As of today, we're moving on because I felt like maybe the base branding might be just a little off with the pivot. But we love you, Grace. We hope. I love you too, Brian. Wow. We hope this works out. It's a big pivot. Currently you can learn more about it over on X mostly, where it kind of looks like this at the moment. This is Brian going out the door. But you know, the entertainment value is big. And I'm sure in an unrelated meme, completely, midwit meme, we have build a compelling app, irrelevant tech choices, build a compelling app. May or may not be a subcast, we'll see. And then Christopher's suggestion in the Bad Takes channel to grow 100x and survive, Farcaster must also pivot to Solana and launch meme coins. What's funny is that Farcaster is already, I think Solana's already integrated, but okay. So Deana, I don't know if you're aware of this situation.
I am aware of it. I am aware of it.
Any thoughts you'd like to share?
I do. I'm tempted to no comment on this one, but big fan of Grace. I think she's lovely and very talented builder. I honestly, what I found to be the most ostentatious thing about his sort of leaving post was his idea that he's building Mr. Beast with a token, which kind of like signals or suggests that he's a content machine on par with a Mr. Beast, which is comical to be making that type of comparison. So that it's more on like the media side that I find it like separate to sort of the Solana of it all. I'm like, wow, there's a little bit of delusions of grandeur, which you need to have as a founder, but
true.
I'm not sure that like they have the track record and validation around making the caliber of content with the level of traction to sort of what he is posting. So that's
just sort of the grandiosity of it all. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Adrian, thoughts?
I will just say in my most wholesome, earnest voice, thank you, Unlonely, for giving us a home in our first year of streaming. We have many good memories of live chatting, and I think I am not surprised about the announcement. I am not surprised at the tone of the announcement. I am not surprised about the content of the announcement, because generally, if you've been paying attention, people are consistent. And I think he struggled over the years kind of saying, am I a platform for streamers or a content maker? And he had to build the platform. But I think ultimately in his heart, he was more interested in the content. Prof and I have talked, like, we've been streaming on Lonely, but there wasn't a lot of kind of back and forth founder to user feedback sessions about what we wanted. It was, he has a really strong point of view about tokens integrated into content. I don't think GM Farcaster was a perfect fit for that. Maybe.
I mean, there was a suggestion that we let people bet on whether or not we were going to wear a hat that day. There was that, but it didn't feel like enough.
We ventured into speculative territory.
Yeah, we thought about it, but it didn't seem like it was really going to move the needle.
But whereas Cast, I think he said crypto is about money. To me, crypto is about freedom of choice, and best of luck. It's so great.
And honestly, like, I hope it's successful. I hope it's a good move. I think probably where he's been leaning, that community might be more better suited, welcoming, whatever. So we'll see how this goes. But we do love Grace so much, and it's why we've stuck around as long as we have through many, many things.
I don't know why you have to shit on where you've come from, though.
I know.
Okay.
I know. He did suggest he was going to give away all the OP that they earned in the grant, and I did volunteer to take that off his hands.
Yeah, I also I can't believe I'm wading into this because I have
believe me, I debated whether bringing this up at all, but it seemed like
I've been watching and holding my tongue, but I found the OP thing in particular to be very disingenuous and attention seeking, and in a way that felt really unpleasant and negative. And so I think that he should give away his OP token, but I don't think he needed to do it in a way that was quite so aggressive. So I didn't love it.
Yeah, there's some good replies in there about burning bridges and like some really earnest like advice around that for so I that particular tweet is interesting, and we'll leave it at that. But I've also been in the back channels with Grace going, seriously though, if you want to give us the OP, like, we're right here.
I hope you guys get it.
We'll see what happens. We're going to move on to happier things now. This from W. Benz, who we love from Base. Building community is like working out. You have to do it every week, and only you can do it, and they do it well. So a couple things later today. Have questions about building on Base? Join in Gather at 12 p.m. UTC, 5:30 p.m. IST. I don't even know what IST is.
That's India.
Where are we now? Oh, okay. And then 8 p.m. SGT for Base Builders office hours. And this relates to what they have coming up, which is Base around the world. So Base is going global to build deeper connections with builders around the world. We're hosting a series of regional build-a-thons in Africa, India, Southeast Asia, and LATAM with 100 ETH in prizes and meetups worldwide. And Jesse himself is going to be flying around. Loved this little animation here. So that is my background today. Bases for everyone everywhere. And I'm spending November traveling around the world, meeting, listening to, and lifting up base builders. I can't wait to meet so many of you in person. So if you have the opportunity to meet Jesse, take it. He's just a very amazing person in terms of community building, no higher EQ in the ecosystem, in my opinion. So any thoughts on that in terms of community? Actually, I'd love to ask you this question because you have such a strong community. I think it's one of the most impressive parts of Boys Club is how you've built that. So when you think about building community from a founder perspective, whether it's along the lines of what Boys Club has done or at a different level with something like an L2, which we normally don't think of as community, but I feel like Base has done pretty well. Like, what do you think are some of the learnings that you've had from building your community?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Boys Club, we really just wanted to build a community that we wanted to be a part of. And like that has been what has guided every decision that we've made as we've been on the journey of Boys Club. It's like, where do we want to be and where do we want to hang out and who are the people that we want to hang out with online and in person. And so I think it's just been like really authentic to like to what we like to do and who we want to be in community with. And so I think that there's just like, I don't know if authenticity is the right word or whatever, but like
that's what came to my mind. I was going to say it's just the authenticity of it all. Yeah.
I think I think also it has been in many ways easier for us because it hasn't been a transactional thing that we like for some of these layer 2s or layer 1s or crypto projects. I think that it can sometimes be more challenging to build a community around it because it's by nature transactional in some level it is. And so I think that can be harder. So I don't like, it's hard when people are like, how do you build a community around a thing? I'm like, I don't know. We've built something around Boys Club that it was just kind of what we wanted to do and who we wanted to hang out with. I don't know if I was like being hired to build a community for an L2, how I would approach that work. I think it's a lot harder. So I don't know if I have like any good advice in that way, but I think certainly Jesse has done an incredible job. And I think that it does seem very authentic to come in his like love for the builders on base and his belief in the technology. And that I think that goes a long way.
I think that shines through, but I see that with everything that you guys have built. It's been very much like, these are our values. We're going to stick to our values and build a community that aligns with that. And I think that's, why it's been so successful, which it shows. It just totally shows. Adrian, any thoughts on that, on like community building in general or anything?
Nothing substantial to add. Just agree with everything you said. And with WBENS, I mean, it is really hard. And I think to Deana's point, like to separate community as if it's a separate thing is like, it's not, oh, we're going to build and you can't really outsource it. So from Jesse as like founder of Base, and yes, it comes from the top and you have all these other people, but it's really kind of comes from leadership and I think has to be pretty intentional.
All right.
One more thing I want to add. I really like the quote that you pulled up around like building a community is like working out. You have to show up consistently. I think that consistency is really important. And I also think that that's really important when you are trying to be a part of a community. And I think that something that is often, I don't know, sort of misunderstood is that people sometimes come into Boys Club and they're like, what can I get from Boys Club at like day one? And the answer is really very little, because the value of the community is a cumulative effect of you showing up and building into the community as well, and being in the chat and responding to questions and you going in and doing the workout as well as a community member. And so I think that like when people think about the communities that they're a part of, I think that's also another really important thing to keep in mind, that like it's only as valuable as what you put into it. And I think that that's true for us as community builders. And I think it's also true as community members as well.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
so true. And this just came up about Farcaster. So, Dan's a different type of founder, right?
Yeah.
And he builds, there is a community. There's a Farcaster scene. Yes. It's, he built it very differently, I think, than maybe we've done ours or Jesse's done Base. But people have asked, he's hosting a developer day in Venice for 50 or so Farcaster developers. And there's a lot of people who are developing on Farcaster not invited and maybe feeling why, but I think a lot of the people who are invited were there very quietly contributing years ago. So it's kind of that compounding effect. Like you can't show up 6 weeks ago, start building and say, where's my invite?
Totally. Totally. Yeah. It's tricky to balance for Dan, certainly. But I do think like that consistency, I don't know, there's something about, there's a sense of entitlement that some people have coming into certain spaces that is just kind of frustrating to.
Yeah. And I think that you really, you do get out of it what you put in. So the people who are being invited to something like a dev day have been they're in the GitHub, they're in the dev call meetings, they've been contributing, long before there was much to even contribute to. So I think that makes a difference too when we talk about being early, but it's also being early and contributing, not just being early. So, and this was from Dan. If you're not attending Developer Day, but are a developer in the Farcaster ecosystem, please send me a direct cast if you're interested in filling out the developer survey. So beyond the folks that they're gathering together who've been really building in the ecosystem pretty consistently, kind of what we were just talking about, if you're building at all, they still want to get your input and make sure that you're incorporated into what comes next. And along those lines of what comes next, mini apps taken off. I think we're going to see a lot more of them coming after this Dev Day gathering. But mini apps let you quickly read a blog post from your feed and then switch to playing a game in a DC, in a direct cast, all from one mobile app. So this is going from games. This is showing Paragraph as well as the Flappy Bird app, and it's really fun what's being developed. I'm excited to see some of the other mini apps that come in. And Deana, if you're not familiar, this is an app that will just launch right from an Explore page on Warpcast on mobile. Cool. Does it launch on web too? I think it does, but not as well. I think it's better.
So I'm on my phone and there's a prompt to play, and then it goes full screen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cool. So if you're, you can find this particular game from the Explore button, which is the little globe that's at the bottom of your app. And then also you might just see it in the feed. And when you click on it, it'll open wide. So for Paragraph, which is the newsletter and blogging, paragraph.xyz, when you add your link in there, it does the same. So now it opens wide for a better reading experience right within Warpcast, which is pretty cool. So, and speaking of, I forgot that I had a cast that talked specifically about that instead of just spelling it myself. This is from Colin, the actual founder of Paragraph. The new Paragraph mini app makes it easier than ever to share your writing and grow your audience. When you share a Paragraph post on Farcaster, it becomes an instant loading article that anyone can read without leaving the app. This is just the start. We're working on even more ways for writers to grow and monetize on Farcaster. Start writing on Paragraph today. So we use Paragraph for our newsletter and blog posts. So love this. And also the frame also makes it easy to subscribe. So really well done. Colin's always kind of early on these integrations. And then Dylan, we have mini apps now. Bet time to grind. So this is what I'm expecting from this week, is that we're going to see a lot of cool, fun things. And speaking of cool, fun things on Farcaster, introducing trivia. This is from Matthew Fox, the live game show mini app. I have no idea what this is going to be. Hosted by Ted with $$ prizes for the winners of each show. Available as a mini app on any Farcaster client. Mint an alpha pass to join us for the first show this Friday, or register for the public game next week in the mini app. So you can go grab this mint. I think it's about $12-ish, and join the game show. So, and Ted is going to be the host. Our mutual friend Ted, not Lasso, will be hosting this live trivia game show this Friday. So we'll see what this is all about.
I can't wait. That's such a great idea. It reminds me of HQ days, and
exactly
such a good idea. And she'll be the perfect host for it.
Totally. Very excited about this. I did ask, is it Farcaster trivia or is it just trivia? Either way, I'm winning. So just whoever's coming up against me, just get ready.
Are you going against Toady?
Absolutely. It's going to be Toady and I in the end. I'm telling you right now.
Nice.
We'll see. We'll see.
Sorry, everybody else.
Sorry, everybody else. We'll see.
Rip
Unless,
everyone else.
Of course, Phil plays and it's all about books, and then I'm screwed.
Okay, Deana or Prof, what were the HQ days for?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, HQ trivia. Did you ever play?
I have a vague memory. I'm kind of like a middle-aged woman who learned about the internet about 3 years ago.
It was I want to say like 2018. I remember playing it in 2018, and it was basically a mobile app that would go live. A trivia game would go live at the same time every day. It was like 1 p.m. and you'd play it on your phone like live with everyone, and you'd have like 8 seconds to answer each question. So it was ungoogleable. Like it was an ungoogleable amount of time to answer. Although now I don't know if that would be the case, but at the time it felt like kind of pure in that way.
Yeah.
And there would be prizes. There was it was very much like a communal thing. So like I was working at Indiegogo at the time, and we in an office, and we would all like stop at the time and play it together for 10 minutes.
Cool.
And it was kind of the first of its kind, really well done, and then it kind of all went up in flames. But it was,
okay.
It was
I do remember now, and I didn't play or didn't play, but I do remember that was a moment.
And similar to like if you've ever played trivia in a bar, like where they have the trivia, like the little kiosk thingy that you play, it's like the same kind of thing, except you're doing it on your phone. And you're playing against other people who are playing. So this is going to be fun. I'm excited to see how this goes. And I think when you put the social graph into it, where you're not playing against, like similar to what you were doing in the office, right? So Farcaster is our office. We've got a whole bunch of people who are here every day, who clock in, clock out, GM, GN. Like it's perfect. Like then 2 p.m. we're all going to gather together and play trivia together.
Totally.
Totally.
I can really see it working in this ecosystem. Also one more bit of HQ trivia.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on his name? Crypto the Game.
Dylan.
Yeah. Worked at HQ trivia.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I thought you were going to say. And then because I loved listening to your Crypto the Game podcast, by the way. That was so fun. Are you guys doing it again when the next one goes?
Yeah, we'll do it again. Awesome. He's working on season 3 right now, and we'll be doing that again. But yeah, he's so wonderful, and I think got a lot of his like juice from his time at HQ. So
yeah, I've listened to him on your show, and it's like he's so interesting. And I got to meet him at Consensus, and I told him at Consensus that we launched something called Cast Out, and we did it within the Farcaster ecosystem, which was like a Survivor game, but only using Farcaster apps and things. And he was like, "I want to play." Like, I don't have time. I'm like, "You can play next time, but I don't know if you're gonna have time to do that." But I'm
like, Prof, you said it would only take about an hour a day.
Right. I did.
Or 2 hours a week.
I might have lied a little bit. Listen, that was the plan. I can't help it if you people are so competitive that you had to go hard. It was not my fault. Come on. You throw Ted in the mix and Toady, forget it. And you're all too competitive. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. But I'm excited to see the next Crypto the Game. And I loved the podcast, made it so fun. Even if you weren't playing, you could really follow along. Otherwise, it's hard to follow along. So I really loved that about it. So excited for the next one. Okay, a couple more things, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about Boys Club. This from Phil. So this is what I was saying before. If Phil is playing trivia and anything to do with books, we're screwed. This was very cool. Week 1, Silicon Valley canon. So there is he set up this essentially a course. I don't want to call it a book club because book club would sell it short. Because it's multiple books club. Many books. There's a syllabus. These are the 5 first books to read. But there's certain chapters in it. So this is kicked off, but you can kind of follow along in the books channel and sort of see the quotes and the interesting comments about different stuff that we're reading within this course. So go check that out in the books channel. And I'm going to miss the first little meetup today because it's happening at noon, but I'll catch up later. So I have homework. It's been a little crazy. One other thing from Adrian, our friends at Snickerdoodle conducted user surveys and analyzed connected wallets and built a comprehensive 118-page State of Farcaster report. Download your copy at snickerdoodle.com. It's a great resource. Check it out. Share with friends. And then you drop some highlights in this thread. So go take a look at this. We'd love for you to share what you're pulling out of the report. And I think you said that on Supercast, there's a lot more to the thread.
I made a thread on Supercast with lots of screenshots and insights from the report, and they have not all synced with hubs, I suppose, because I don't see them on Warpcast.
Interesting.
So, yeah, this is what it's like to work in
Decentralization.
Early. Yeah, it's just like,
Woj is on a
the
plane.
edge of. So it'll get there or it won't. But lots of more graphs that I shared and insights, and go to Supercast to see it, or wait a little bit and definitely download the report.
Woj is on a plane to LA for Dev Day, so he'll check it.
Not sitting in first class, by the way.
Not
He's
sitting in first class.
in economy, saving lots of money.
All right. Fantastic.
Can I ask sorry, this is probably a dumb question. What's Supercast?
No dumb questions. Go ahead.
Great question.
Great question. No dumb questions. Go ahead. I'll let you take it.
So, Deana, you're familiar with the concept of Farcaster as a protocol, and theoretically there should be multiple and many apps and clients built on top. But for the most part, we all default and use Warpcast. So Supercast is probably the second most popular client for Farcaster. So it has a lot of features for kind of power users. So you can schedule casts, you can create threads all in one, like Warpcast has no threading support. It has different algorithms. It has a reverse chronological feed. Most people don't like the algorithmic feed in Warpcast. So it's just another client. It is built by a solo dev at Woj. And it's just the second most popular client.
Okay. Does the content port over or?
Yes,
it does. Okay.
Well, usually.
Okay.
Yes, so it should. So you've got this network of hubs where theoretically all the clients write to, and they sync up, and they should show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a conflict or there's latency. So I think Varun has said something about like wanting 90% of like 90% of all casts to sync within, I'm going to make this up, like a minute, 99% within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This has now been a few hours. My guess is.
I see. Okay.
I'm going to have to DM Woj and be like, what's going on?
Okay.
But yes, it should be. It's just a different user interface, but all the same backend data. So same user profile, same social graph, same cast content.
Yeah.
I got to check it out.
Yeah. It's definitely, you can do some things on there that you can't do on Warpcast, like schedule casts and things like that. In threads. But we'll see how it all syncs out. Couple more quick things, and we're gonna chat some boys club. But we want to talk about channels coming up. Channel member migration plan. Last week we previewed. This is from Dan DWR. Last week we previewed the upcoming channel changes. We want to ensure that existing channels have a set of members on day one. We're proposing automatically converting active followers members for channels. We're optimizing for something straightforward and pragmatic, not perfect, and we're looking for feedback on this proposal. So you can see the plan as well as what is happening with the upcoming channel changes. And also more information from here. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but essentially this is about replies. Anyone can reply to a cast in a channel, but they will show up sort of below the fold if they are not a member of a channel. So that's what's happening with replies. And if you have some thoughts about the upcoming channel changes and want to share them, Dan is looking for a feelings check-in, if you will, how you're feeling about the channel changes. And one other note about this, day one support for the upcoming channel changes. Hypersub Farcaster channel, this is from Nonlinear, sorry. Hypersub will provide day one support for upcoming channel changes. Hypersub Farcaster channel memberships will be on-chain, free, pay what you want, or priced, accept payment with crypto or credit card, automatically add and remove members based on subscription status, open for builders via Nanar APIs. And just to kind of catch you up, because I'm going to guess maybe you haven't followed what's going on, is there's a change with channels that's coming up in that sort of to help with, one, to make them a little bit more beneficial, but also to control the spam that's been happening in some of those channels, to offer a little bit more moderating tools to those who run channels and to actually help them become more community focused and more of like the cozy corners that they want them to be. So you'll be able to sort of token gate who can cast in a channel and reply above the fold, if you will, to kind of keep it better, higher quality content. So Like Boys Club could be like anyone who holds our NFT automatically. Their casts will show on our channel, and then other folks, it will be moderated in a different way. So
Cool.
that's the plan. So yeah, so a little bit of adjustment, and but it's I think it's gonna be interesting.
My favorite thing about all this, by the way, is Dan said like the channel changes, unlike everything else they do, will be really slow and thoughtful because everyone uses channels, so you can't just like rip it out. Like, so he's listening to tons of feedback, posting Notion docs. It still feels like it's moving at lightning speed in terms of how fast they're.
Yeah.
And in the Snickerdoodle,
they're fat. They're slow. Yeah, they're slow is not very slow. Their slow stuff very slow at all.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting from Eric too. The most interesting and important conversations are happening in mid-sized group chats, not on public social networks. But group chat apps aren't optimized for consumption. Imagine if Twitter made you read every single tweet chronologically and sent you a notification every time somebody tweeted, and you had little information on who's talking or why you should care. And there was no way to mute or follow people, topics, or find other chats that might be a fit based on your interest ability to contribute. Something new will fill the gap. And to me, this is channels filling that gap and being like a way to make your group chat public, really, because you'll control who's able to add to the conversation, but it will be able to be read by everybody. So we'll see. But I think that's possibly the solution. So any other thoughts on channels before we shift gears to Boys Club? All right.
No, but check out, I'll just say, Snickerdoodle has a whole section on channels. And I was reading it like today, download the report today because it's a great snapshot in time. And it's talking about, and I was just laughing because it's kind of doing an overview as well of all the different moderation tools. And I'm laughing because I'm wondering how much of the channel stuff will change over the next 6 months. Like this is what channels are today in terms of how many there are and this. So it's a great snapshot in time. I think that report that it came out.
Yeah, I think it's perfect timing. It'll be really interesting to see the changes. And speaking of channels, there's a Boys Club channel if you're not familiar. And in that Boys Club channel right now, you can find this fun little recap of, come on, play for me. You're not going to play. Of course not. You're not going to play, are you? Because I needed to play and it's not playing. But anyway, it's a really fun little recap from Singapore that is just not playing for me right now. And a lot of fun that looked like you were not there, right, Natasha?
It looked like fun. I was not there. It looked like a lot of fun. No, I didn't make it to Singapore. I am grateful to the team that did go, and also grateful that I don't have that jet lag because it doesn't seem fun.
Yeah. It's there was a lot of things that looked fun, but the trip just did not look fun at all. And
yeah,
I mean, maybe if you were on the plane with the karaoke, that might be your jam, but no.
maybe for some. Yeah, long flight times. But also, grateful to be able to travel the world and meet people halfway around the world and have a good time. So it's all a privilege, but also a privilege to skip that one for me.
What has been your favorite conferences and your favorite experiences at some of the places where you've been to kind of bring your community together?
So we did our own conference called Brand New last year in Austin. And I will say that was probably the most fun that I've had personally, because we were able to obviously, like, we controlled the programming and we it controlled the environment completely. And it was like 400, 500 of our best friends coming to hang out with us in Austin. It was also, the backdrop of that was South by Southwest. It wasn't a crypto conference. So that just gave it a completely sort of different dimension. And really our goal for being at South by Southwest was to do the work that I think we're uniquely good at, which is sort of bridge building to other places that are outside crypto. So we had a great time there. But I will say, I think my favorite crypto conference is ETH Denver. I really love Have you guys gone to Denver?
Yeah, we went last year was my first time being there, and I would agree, like when we talked afterwards of like which conferences we would want to continue to have a presence at, that was one. Because it was a good vibe.
It's a great vibe. It's it's a free conference, anyone can go. So it's all types of different people that are in that sort of conference center. Just a ton of energy and curiosity and just like diversity and just different types of people that are interested in different facets of the Ethereum ecosystem that I find to be very energizing. I'm looking forward to the next ETH Denver. Just it's mostly just like it pours into my cup in a way that some of the other conferences are extractive, but that one always feels really great.
That feels accurate.
Yeah.
We should probably take a step back for a second, and just in case there's people who are not familiar with Boys Club. What is Boys Club? Can you kind of highlight the different aspects of Boys Club so that we can kind of get everybody on a level set here? Because I didn't even think about that part of it. I just assume everybody knows.
What is Boys Club? We do like to keep it a little mysterious. That is part of the brand vibe. But practically speaking, Boys Club is, you can think about it in sort of two ways. It's one part community that has been going since 2021, really just driven by curiosity, wanting to learn about what was happening in crypto, wanting to understand what it meant for our careers and things that we're interested in, like art and sports and fashion or whatever it is, like trying to understand Web3 in the context of like sort of broader cultural touch points. And doing that in community with other people, learning about crypto and Web3 in a group chat that felt like it was safe to ask any stupid question that you had. And there were lots of stupid questions, and I was the author of many of those stupid questions. And so it was kind of just this idea.
The only way you learn. If you don't ask questions, you can't learn. And I've always said like the only question that's dumb is the one you didn't ask.
Yeah. So we have kind of like a anything goes, any type of question is welcome and encouraged. And that's really been sort of the ethos since day one. I think also another thing that's unique about crypto and Web3 is that a lot of it is learning by doing. And I think there's like very practical things that like when you're setting up a wallet or making your first swap or whatever it is, like you can hit very like real speed bumps that you're like, I actually don't know, my transactions failed. I don't know why, or like, can someone help? And so a lot of it has been kind of that type of fostering that type of environment for folks as well. So that's sort of the community side. And it started really like we just started getting people in a room together. We did an event in New York, I think in November 2021. That was our first event. And it was like, let's just get people in a room to start asking questions about what crypto and Web3 is and was, and bring people who had been working in the space to come and to talk to us about what they're doing. And really sort of the hope was that, and still to this day, that like that it will learning from people who are working in the space or who are doing cool stuff, like that will act as a catalyst for you and like sort of ignite your own curiosity to then go and do the rabbit holing and the researching that you'll go and do on your own, but like helping to sort of drive that initial spark of curiosity. And so we did that a lot IRL at first, and then we started the group chat. So anyway, that's one side of Boys Club, is this community, and it's a beautiful thing. It sort of is its own engine, and many people who are in the chat here that I see that come and hang out with us a lot. And then there's the media company, which is sort of the other side of it. So that's a lot of what you see on social media. We have 3 newsletters that we put out weekly. We have a couple of podcasts, and we do a lot of work on social media. And that's kind of more of like I'm going to say traditional media company. It's not in any way a traditional media company, but in terms of like there's properties that we're sort of developing in different verticals, and that's sort of one side of it as well. And the media company really came from as the sort of community of Boys Club was forming and we were getting together more and more IRL, and then we had this group chat. There was a brand that kind of emerged, and then like a brand voice that emerged really quite organically that had a point of view that we were like, okay, well, maybe this point of view can be like explored in a newsletter. And so that's where the newsletter came from. And then we're like, maybe this point of view can be explored in a podcast. And really with that point of view being like curiosity driven, subversive, humor first. And at the time that was kind of like a fresh take in crypto and Web3 certainly. And so that's really what we were just pushing on with the editorial voice of what became the media company, if that makes sense.
I love the newsletter, 2 Online. And we did have, you did get a shout out actually on Warpcast from Alina, who was referencing 2 Online. Yes, some random thoughts triggered by 2 Online. Fun fact, weird flex. My first US internship was at the production company that's WTS, which is Dancing with the Stars, because the 2 Online was talking about the Anna Delvey like craziness that she is now, for those who don't know, famous like scammer, con artist, whatever, is now on Dancing with the Stars.
She sure is. Yeah.
But I do love your newsletter kind of goes all over the place. And I love it for those of us who are, terminally online. It definitely, I've either sometimes learned things that I've totally missed, gotten explanations of things I've seen and didn't know what the heck was going on. And then also just like, other things that were just freaking funny. So
perfect.
Appreciate it. It's perfect. I love it.
Thank you.
And then you have 2 different podcasts. Can you talk about what they are and the differences between sort of the goal of the audience? The audience directed to?
I think we're doing a lot of work right now to clean up around sort of the different verticals in Boys Club generally. So I think just sort of speaking to how the media company came to be, like we now have this media company of Boys Club. None of the people that are working on the media company of Boys Club ever set out to start a media company. Like it's very accidental now.
Wow, that sounds familiar.
I know, exactly.
That sounds quite familiar.
So, but I think like one side effect of that is that we haven't had the sort of rigor around developing really clear verticals of content that a lot of other like traditional media companies run by people who know what they're doing do. So one example of that is like we have been talking about crypto and Web3, and that was in our main newsletter that we were doing, and it was kind of crypto and Web3 news. And it got to the point where we were like, man, not only do we feel like we have more to offer as a brand than just sort of crypto and Web3 news, we also want to find other areas for growth. And especially like, we have all lived through the bear market of, I'm not going to put years on it, but it's been, there hasn't been a lot of new people. Yeah. And so we were very explicitly like what are other lanes that Boys Club as a brand has license to move into, other adjacent lanes. And so internet culture was right there for us, felt very natural. And so you're speaking to 2 Online, that is like, we're doing a lot of work to have like put a lot of daylight around that as like our internet culture vertical. Malware is our newsletter and podcast that's about crypto and it's about Web3, and a little bit sort of broader tech stuff, but like kind of has a view, editorial lens that's like rooted in Web3. And then we have another podcast that's the Feelings Check-In that is really just Natasha and I talking about our feelings. And like, it's hard to, that one, as I'm talking about verticalization, I'm like, I actually don't know where that one fits. So I'm completely, kind of lost in how to describe it, but it's, just sort of us talking about our feelings, building in this space. Again, that podcast was developed and sort of emerged very organically from a desire and a want and a need to be able to communicate with the people that are in Boys Club, communicate like what we're thinking about, and doing that in a way that that was just like, how can we share with the community? And so that's really where the Feelings Check-In came from. And we also have another podcast called Context that we do with Blake Finucane. She is an art historian, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Blake.
No, I don't.
She's wonderful. And she's an art historian. She did her master's degree on NFTs in 2018 or some crazy time. And she's like an academic and has this art lens. And yeah, she's like a crazy talented person and does a podcast called Context. And then we're also building out a sports vertical as well. So there's a lot of interest in women's sports and sort of unapologetically feminine lens put towards the sports industry. And so we're kind of we're incubating that as well with a couple gals called Athleisure. Cool. So those are kind of the different verticals that we're thinking about. We have one that we're baking out around fashion, digital fashion. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're thinking a lot about like, how do we move into these other spaces? That was a very long answer to your question about.
It was great. It was great. Okay. And I have to say, like, malware, I've been loving. I love some of the interviews you did. You had, I can't remember her first name, but from Spice Capital.
Maya.
Super interesting. Incredible. Maya, talking about VCs. And so I actually taught a class on venture funding for a while for where I teach at entrepreneurship. And she like hit on so many things that like, oh my God, I wish I had this podcast when I was teaching that class, because it was really fantastic. So
thanks. Yeah, she's
highly recommend.
She was incredible.
Loved it, and it was so interesting to hear her story and like her approach to that. Adrian, sorry, you wanted to jump in.
When do you expect the sports content to start coming out?
We've started. So we've sent a couple newsletters. I can drop some links. It's called Athleisure. The gals that are running it are, one works in innovation at NHL, and one works basically in innovation at in like a rugby. She's in New Zealand, like rugby All Blacks something. I don't know anything about sports, but this is us like working to go outside our comfort zone.
That's awesome.
I love it.
And yeah, they're both like super credible, very talented, and we're starting to seed some stuff on social around sports. Very cool. Honestly, the whole approach that we've taken for everything that we're doing at Boys Club is just like, let's follow where we have some natural interest and like see if it works, throw spaghetti at the wall. And that's kind of the approach we're taking with Athleisure too. It's like, if it works, great. Let's do as much testing as we feel like we're able to do and get some validation and then go from there. So we're still early days, but it feels really fun so far.
I love it.
You play sports?
We have Naomi and Afro Chicks coming on Friday, who is she competes in triple jump, and she's been posting workouts and stuff. Yeah, isn't it great?
It's so great. It's so great. I'm such a fan.
She's like, I'm going to be the first Olympic athlete to, post my journey on chain. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
Cool.
So, yeah, so very cool. Adrian, sorry, you had a question?
No, I was just going to ask you if you played sports growing up.
I was a softball gal. So yes, but I certainly don't know. I'm not connected to like professional sports at all. So, but I'm now an editor of that type of content, but it's mostly like I leave it to the experts and I just sort of clean up on tone and things like that.
Love it.
Awesome.
By the way, we on occasion will fall into a feelings check-in when things are happening.
Nice.
By the way, can we? I'm going to need to schedule a feelings check-in for November 6th. Just letting you know right now, Adrian.
Yeah.
What's happening in November?
I don't know. Something.
A collective feeling.
Something. End of democracy. Something like that. Anyway.
No matter who wins, just so you know, no matter who wins.
No, I'm saying like I'm going to need that regardless. For real.
Yeah.
I don't see myself coming out of this unscathed.
Totally.
Anyway. So I want to, Adrian, do you have your lightning questions ready?
Totally. Deana, are you up for a lightning round of questions?
Totally to the end of the hour, so I want to be conscious of time, because we actually have vibe check with Dewoofies coming up at 12:30 on our channel. So just like
and shout out to the chat, who I could not keep up with today because they're very loud today and funny as usual. So we've moved off on Lonely Chat and seem to have survived on day one.
The chat has been so fun. It's as someone who does a recorded podcast, I never get the pleasure of having real time.
It's fun, right?
Chat. And so it's so fun. I love it.
it's really helpful
hilarious.
to have the feedback immediately.
Totally.
It's
Totally. And
really
also like it adds a dimension to the conversation. Anyway, I'm really
for sure.
enjoying it.
For sure. And Miriam, by the way, Miriam, we want to hang out with you when you get back from Nashville. She's in Nashville right now, actually, for a writers conference or a writers retreat.
Songwriters, right?
Songwriters retreat. Yeah. Okay, so let's jump back.
I'm manifesting Miriam playing music live on a GM Farcaster at some point in the next 12 months. So that's going to happen.
We're definitely doing that. That's definitely happening.
Nice.
Okay.
Adrian, lightning.
Lightning round. So Deana, on Farcaster, we talk a lot about the URL to IRL pipeline because it's very community driven. When and how did you make your first internet friend?
Oh, well, I mean, I was in the AOL chat rooms, age, sex, location gal, like from when I was a teenager. So I think probably alarmingly early.
It's like way too early.
Did you meet someone then in real life?
Like IRL
online and then become a real friend?
No. But yeah, I mean, I've made like hundreds of friends through Boys Club. So it's I can't think of who my first one was, but the gift of helping to build Boys Club has been to meet so many incredible people around the world that I hang out with online. And it's honestly like such a privilege and such a blessing that I could talk about it for the next hour and I won't bore you guys, but it's been just like the best.
We love that.
By far the best part of doing Boys Club.
I mean, that's why we like Farcaster. And I know there's a lot of kind of overlap in because you and I haven't met before, but I know like people I know from Farcaster know you very well. And there's something about it's like, the transitive property of good people. And
totally.
All right. What is your favorite channel on Farcaster, not Boys Club?
Oh, well, I hang out a lot on Boys Club. I have been liking Sparks's photography, like travel photography.
Adventure.
Is it her new adventure channel? So good.
Yeah.
So
good.
I'm trying to see what other stuff is coming up. I think that's probably my favorite. I always like creeping on people's like individual channels. So like Ted's channel and then Ivy's channel, people who have like their own space. I like to go into that. I think those are probably my favorites.
Nice.
Are there any other places I should be hanging out? I feel like I need some channel discovery prompting. That's the one thing.
Have you been in Farcast Her? You might like Farcast Her, but also drop your favorite channels in the chat for her.
Yeah, drop them. I want to join them all. Oh, also Gay Coins is a chat that I really enjoy hanging out in. Please, I need some new channels. So
there you go. All right, drop them in the chat, people.
By the way, the personal channels are so funny because people started doing them and everyone's like, why do you do that? Like Dan's psyoping you to pay $25 to create a personal channel.
When you can just use your home feed. I know.
But then there's actually a use for it. I created one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it.
There's a couple that are very interesting. I love July and 6. So I would put those into so it's SIX 6 and July, and they're both anon, well, not really anon, but pseudonymous,
pseudo anon,
and very interesting guys. Yeah, very interesting thinkers.
Cool. Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend those. Okay, quick. We've got 6 minutes. Go.
We'll make these fast. Morning person or night owl?
100% morning person. I can't stay up late, and I'm up with the sun if I have my way.
Next country you want to visit?
Good question.
Next country I'm likely to visit is Brazil. We'll be going there early 2025. My mom has an apartment there and is there for part of the year every year. Lives there part of the year, and we have family there. So I'm going to be heading there. And I love Brazil. I've gone many times before, but it's just always such a fun place to visit. So excited about that.
Fun fact, there are giant Noggle skate in the skate park that you can ride on your skateboard. So
what?
Nouns classes. There's
cool.
Giant nouns classes in Rio in a skate park that you can ride your skateboard.
That's so cool. That's a great fun fact.
Just fun fact. If you have to ever be in a skate park in Rio, there you go.
I love that.
Other fun fact, if you ever meet Prof in real life, she'll give you Noggles.
I will 100%.
Amazing. I can't wait.
100%.
I can't wait.
All right, Deana, what's your favorite holiday?
I have 2 kids, so Halloween is really big in this household, and obviously coming up fast. I saw a tweet yesterday that was like, "I'm going to quit my job to focus on Halloween full time," and that's like kind of the vibe in my house right now, where it's like we're really, really excited about it. Yeah, I love the theatrics of it, so I think Halloween's probably my favorite.
I love it.
Farcaster seems to love spooky season as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking of a heavyweight.
I'm too old and grumpy.
Loves herself some spooky season. You over it? She's over
I'm
it.
just old and grumpy. Football or soccer?
Soccer. I can't get down with the head injuries.
Yeah.
So.
Camping or hotel?
Hotel. But I did go to Yellowstone this summer, and I did not camp, but I was camping adjacent, and I had a great time. And now,
did you do the glamping by any chance?
I did. I did 2 nights of glamping, and it was incredible. But I'm now national park pilled. I'm like,
right.
me too. If you want to start a podcast about national parks, I'm all in on that. If you want,
that'd be fun. You can, go visit them with JC and do like adventure. That could be a fun podcast, actually. Oop, we lost you.
Just lost your
we
volume,
lost your
Deana.
audio. I think you touched a button and turned yourself off.
I'm here. I'm back.
Which, by the way, we have both done at different times.
I'm sorry. Have you been to Yellowstone?
Yeah. Magical. So good. It's like it's incredible.
Incredible.
Just the scale of it. It's
totally.
And then also there's just like things coming out of the earth everywhere you look.
Totally.
Just magical, like incredible. All right.
Incredible.
Rob making Adrian face right now.
Love my little nature. Okay. Do you eat kiwi with skin on or off?
What's that?
When you eat a kiwi fruit, do you eat it with the skin on or off?
Off. I'm not psychotic. Who's eating it with it on?
Vitalik and others.
Vitalik.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's alarming. No, off.
That was perfect. Who's eating with it on?
That is crazy.
What is the last thing you bought with crypto?
Good question.
I bought a delegate vote on the Crypto National Convention website yesterday. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't seen that.
No, you can buy votes.
It's like, so the Pleaser DAO.
Wait, is there a DAO I'm not in? Hold on.
I know you could buy votes, but now it's getting very explicit.
It's in service of a Polymarket bet, so it's not like you're buying votes, but it's a fun Pleaser DAO experiment that they've put together. I think it's cryptonationalconvention.com or something. It's on the Pleaser DAO Twitter X account, and basically it's kind of convoluted, but like you buy delegate votes and then you vote for who you think is going to win, and then they take the person that was collectively voted to win, and they pool that money and they put it on a Polymarket bet, and then they distribute tokens. And if that person wins, then there's like a pooled Polymarket bet essentially, and then everyone gets the distribution via the.
I gotta go check this out. This might be a way to do Polymarket without, getting
it is a way to do Polymarket without doing Polymarket. Yeah.
All right, we have to call it there. We do have vibe check coming up in like a minute, and I don't know what happens if we're streaming and that tries to go live. We're about to find out. But we thank you so much for being here. This has been so fun to chat. Loved it. So fun. And come back anytime. And we're looking forward to seeing you at ETHDenver for sure. And that's it. So with that, everybody, we will see you on Friday, 8:30 a.m. and bye-bye.